How is everybody doing today? And in this video, we are going to be talking about our next S rank character for Zenless Zone Zero. And funny enough, we did have two characters released yesterday, and apparently y'all made it known that if the character's not animated in their trailer, I guess you could say, or they're a little short, that means they're an A rank. So Poltra will be an A rank stunner that is physical, while of course our S rank Ambi is still there, that is attacker electric. And we now have Trigger as well, who will be part of the Obol Squad, which I like that they actually are giving us the faction this time, with finally giving us a Soldier 11 teammate. So now that we have an electric stunner, this means that of course Chingy is in comparison to this character. And there's just a couple of things I do want to look at when coming towards Trigger and what she could possibly do, and also what we're looking forward to with S rank Ambi, and also looking at of course Soldier 11, because I think she's the highest contender for some direct buffs with these characters coming out. So looking at Trigger, of course, our S rank stunner that is electric. Of course, going into the game and looking at the character select screen, we already know and we already see the other character that coincides with this is Chingy, and of course Ambi in the back is right there also in that role. Now I do think Chingy is still gonna be out Trigger when it comes to being an electric stunner, just because of how, I guess you say, insane her universal approach is to a bunch of different teams. As you may know, she gives a stun damage multiplier that is way higher than what a lot of these other stunners are able to give, while other characters like Lighter are decreasing and increasing on fire res and ice res. We have Chingy here, who's able to give a universal stun damage multiplier to any character or any enemy in the game. So I do think in terms of a universal approach, Chingy still might be Trigger out. But what I do think Trigger is going to do, or what I think they're going to come into the game with, that makes them unique, that puts them in their own niche, that way they are being used versus other characters in other teams, is realistically, I feel like this might be the case, but with how Lighter works, it is going to be hard to see if it will happen, because as you may know, Lighter gives a decrease to ice res and fire res, and then it gives you a boost of fire and ice damage as well. Now the only problem I have with this, technically in my opinion, is that with him boosting fire and ice, right, and we look at Trigger, and Trigger is going to be a electric stunner, although they are going to be in two different roles. Of course, I would love it if they were to be a fire and thunder res increase and res damage boost, because in that case Soldier 11, who of course it has the faction bonus of being able to go into teams with faction or with same attribute, someone like Soldier can actually work with the Trigger character, which is going to be the stunner. Fire damage increase, fire damage or fire res decrease, and then you also have S rank Ambi, who could potentially be a teammate for them as well, with the thunder increase and the thunder res decrease. I think that would be really cool to see, and especially making it so that it's a full Obol Squad type of team. I think that'd be a really cool thing to look at. Another thing I do want to say is that the only problem I have with this is that Lighter already has that fire boost, so it would be a little too similar if they were to boost both elements and one of them is fire once more, because then of course that's just going to help out fire a little bit more than all these other characters that are supporting other different types of teams. Now, is there a problem realistically? Not really. The only other fire attacker in the game is going to be Evelyn, and also looking at someone like Soldier 11. But for those that pull Lighter for the fire res decrease or fire bonus as well, then you're gonna feel a little bit left out when Trigger has the same thing, giving fire and thunder bonus if they were to have that in their kit, which I think that would be a really cool thing to have, just because it would directly buff not only Soldier 11, but also it would buff the newer characters like Evelyn as well with the fire bonus. And then the thunder bonus can go for other DPSs, technically, like someone like Yanagi, if you wanted to go down that route, or of course the S rank Soldier, not Soldier, Ambi, that we are going to be getting in the future. There's just a lot of things that go through my mind when looking at a stunner that is coming out that is going to be an S rank, because like I said, when it comes to having a character like Chingy, that's a little bit more universal. I feel like she's not going to be touched in terms of what team she's going to be on or how good she is as a unit. But someone like Lighter, someone like all these other stun characters that we currently have in the game, they all have something unique to them, and I really wonder what they're going to throw into Trigger that would help them out. Now, I was thinking at first that we were going to get a character that was going to be a stunner, but it was more centered around Anomaly, which they wouldn't make sense if we got that through Trigger, just because Soldier 11 by herself, she's a main attacker that does nothing with Anomaly technically, because you really want her to stay on the field as much as possible with the bonuses that you give throughout the team. Same thing goes for Ambi. Ambi's not an Anomaly character, she is an attacker, so having a stunner that's Anomaly related, that is part of the Obol Squad and is supposed to be a teammate with S rank Ambi and also S rank Soldier 11, it would be kind of weird if they gave Anomaly boosts, which aren't needed for either of those characters, or as far as we know for Soldier 11. If Ambi somehow has Anomaly mixed in with attack, you know, that might be a little cool, but realistically I don't see that route being gone through with this unit specifically. So we're gonna have to wait and see how this is gonna work out with Trigger, what they're potentially going to be giving to the teams that she's going to be on, because I do expect this to be a more centered around Ambi specifically, of course, because as you may know, for some reason Zenless likes to throw in the unit that is right next to them to be the best in slot to support them, like how we had Zhu Yin and Qing Yi, how we had Jane and Bernice, if I'm not wrong. There are just so many characters that are good back to back that you have to pull like twice in a row if you want to solidify the best team. Oh, same thing here, Astra and Evelyn. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff right now that is a little bit hard to prepare for when it comes to dealing with these characters. None of us knew that Ambi was coming, and none of us knew that Trigger was coming, and now that Soldier 11 is finally getting her Obol Squad teammate, we might see something that's able to make Soldier 11 climb in where she's standing at currently in the meta. Although she is a really great character, she definitely can have a portion added to her kit. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, remember who has a synced up ultimate or a synced up pairing if you have both characters, and that is going to be Coleta. Now I think it is a part of her. Oh, it's actually a part of Coletta's kit. When Coleta and Ben are both in your squad and this skill is quickly launched after an enhanced basic attack, they team up to launch a coordinated attack. Now this can actually be a part of somebody else's kit in the Obol Squad. It can either be Ambi or it can either be Trigger, because if we look at Ben's, if I'm not wrong, Ben doesn't have the Coleta text inside his actual kit. So this actually means that this can be added in the future to other characters in the game. So realistically, if Trigger or Ambi were to come out, they could technically have a portion of their kit. Say if Soldier 11 and Ambi or Soldier 11 and Trigger are in the same team, they now launch a coordinated attack with their skill, with their ultimate. Now you now can use combined ultimates if you have both characters' ultimates up. That is something they can do now with the ultimate update, now that everyone has their own bar, that if you have your ultimate for Soldier 11 and you have it for Ambi, they combine, they do it at the same time, they do some cool combo together, and boom, something crazy happens. Or same thing goes with Trigger and Soldier 11. If they have their ultimates up, boom, they get a team ult. Now what would be really cool is if you have Soldier 11's ult, Ambi's ult, and Trigger's ult, and they do like some squad they do some squad ultimate shenanigans. That would be so freaking cool. But other than that, that's pretty much it when it comes to what I could talk about for Trigger. There's just not a lot we can go off of when looking at these stunners in the game. Like I said, Qing Yi is an of course direct comparison because they share the same role, but I don't think that Qing Yi and Trigger are gonna fight for the space on whatever teams that Trigger is niche for, because I'm pretty sure for whatever Trigger is meant for, he's gonna be the best in slot. I mean, she's gonna be the best in slot for whatever you're gonna be looking at for Ambi and of course Soldier 11, while Qing Yi is still the best universal pick for every team when it comes to stunning, period. So other than that, that's pretty much going to be it when it comes to talking about Trigger. Let me know how excited you are for this Obol Squad patch, because I think it's really freaking hype that Soldier 11 is finally getting her teammates within the game after so many patches. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the next one, and peace.